This is my Huffy Slider. I made a video on how I made the PVC plastic back wheels for it using just 6-inch PVC and go-kart rims. I cut them down, and you can see that video on YouTube. And while I was making that video, I said I would make another one that shows about the back axle. So now is the time. I haven't had time to really do anything. I want to mount this seat on here. This is a mini bike seat. I thought that would look really nice on there. As you can see, I haven't even had time to mount that. You can take the old seat, it will mount back onto here. But you can see where the steel is. This is where the back axle is that I made and mounted onto here. And what I did, what a lot of people were doing, is this is the end of the Huffy Slider where the old axle would go. And they're taking, for one, they're taking 5/8 rod and a PVC plastic bushing and putting it inside of the old axle, and then just putting the rod through, putting 2 wheels on the side, and I don't know, they're putting a clamp on it or something. You know, I would not recommend that, and I would not drive that. One of the problems with that is that the 5/8 axle will bend. Even though I'm using a 5/8 axle here also, because of the plastic bushing, that will start to give, and if you are spacing out away from that plastic bushing at all, your chances of that axle, not right away, but eventually, especially going over bumps, you're going to bend that axle. So I recommend not to do that. You need some kind of solid axle in the back, and you don't want to just take a plate and extend back, which I've seen some people right here, the seat, they've extended the seat back, but they've left the mounting point here. And what you have to understand about the Huffy Slider, or any kind of trike like this, is there actually is some science in it, and the closer to the front that you sit, the more weight you're putting on your front wheel. So the more the front wheel will grab and will steer for you, and the more the back wheels will slide. So you have more weight to the front, the more your back wheels are going to slide, and the more your front wheel will steer for you. The more that you sit back towards the back wheels, the more weight you're putting on these wheels, and the less you're putting on this. Therefore, you're not going to slide. You're thinking that you will because you have more weight on here, so that would make it slide, but it doesn't. It makes it heavier, makes it grippier, and the more weight you put on the back axles, the less it will slide, and the worse steering you will have. And if you can just imagine, if you take a 2x4 and clamp it on here and push down past this, you'll actually be able to lift the front of this up really easy. So if you're sitting way back here and lean back, you'll pop a wheelie on this really quickly. If you're sitting up here and lean back, you're not going to pop a wheelie nearly as quickly. So you need to understand where you're sitting and why before you start getting into making something. And if you'll notice here what I have done, I've seen other places that they're taking a probably 1.25 inch square tubing or an adapter, and they're just bolting it right on to where the old axle went, and then they're V'ing it back just a little bit. Your entire stress, the whole stress of this whole rear end is on one single little point here, and obviously it works. They've been doing it for years now, and there's a lot of them out there, and they seem to be working really well, but that design is not as strong as this design. And that's the point I'm trying to get across is when you, initially that's what I was going to do, is just have one piece of tubing come straight back, then have it intersect into my back axle, and that's not going to be strong enough, not for me. So I added 2 more pieces of square tubing that will come all the way up and bolt onto where the seat was at. So now you bolt that on there, and you can use those bolt holes for your seat, or you can keep coming back and drill the holes and put the original seat wherever you want to, or you can make your own. But let me show you how I made the back axle. Now these are racing go-kart wheels and tires, and what basically I did was took It's a 5/8 inch diameter bushing by a 1 inch on the outside, and you can make it as long as you want to here. I think I did one, looks like 2.5 to 3 inches. And these are 1 inch by 1 inch square tubing steel. And if you sandwich this together, it's all nice and flat. So you could clamp something on top of here and keep everything nice and straight. And that's why I use this design here. I just cut the ends here at a 45 to kind of make it look neat. So what you'll do is you take a mini bike axle, cut the end off that you don't need. You insert the mini bike axle into the 5/8 bushing. Back here you will either plug weld it or let it go a little bit past and weld around the edge. And then you weld this with it all lined up, and that's how I was able to get this part right here. And all I did was, there's 2 pieces of square tubing that go along here, and like I said, they intersect into here, and it ties everything in nice. This is super, super sturdy. If anybody that you know knows how to weld and has access to some steel, just by looking at this, it's not going to be hard at all to figure out how that worked. Let me grab a tape measure and I'll give you some dimensions on this in just a minute. This is the back end of the go-kart axle. Gives you a better idea of what it looks like. And like I said, if you know anybody that has access to a welder and can get some steel, they should be able, just by looking at this, be able to figure this out. This is 1 inch square. This is 1 inch square. I just cut this on a 45 to make it look neat. This is the bushing. And with the axle, the mini bike axle goes in there welded. And I made this part by itself first. Then what I did was I joined it here with a flat plate, welded it to this square tubing which joins here on the frame, and then these 2 pieces of square tubing were added and it bolts onto where the seat would go. And these 2 pieces right here are very instrumental. This is what really gives you a lot of strength in this frame. You could actually kind of do away with this, and these 2 would hold the frame without any problem at all. This is nice, this gives you a lot of support, but this really gives you some added support. From axle bushing to axle bushing, it slipped off there, is 2 feet. Then this is much more than I needed, but it is 4 inches. And again, this is just 1 inch. This will be 1 inch in between here, and this is 1 inch. The length from the back of the axle to the front of where the seat would be is 20 inches. So from here to here, this distance here is 20 inches. And like I said, by looking at this, you should be able to figure out how this is designed and how this is made if you're looking to build something like that. Hopefully that'll give you an idea. A lot of people are going to ask about the tires and how much they cost. These right here are actually a little bit too wide for the PVC pipe. When you put the PVC pipe on here, it's only 6 inches wide, and the tread on here is 7. And when you blow it up, you actually get a rib of tire on both sides that goes past the PVC. So you want to make sure that your tread width is no more than 6 inches, because if it is, you're going to have some problems like I did. What a lot of people seem to be doing is using this size rim, which is I believe it's a 8 or 9 inch rim. This is 9 inch wide rim, but they're taking the 6 inch tire and stretching it, which is really hard to get on the rim. People like the looks of it. I don't. I'm just going to get wider PVC. But to get back to the cost, these are these rims, both Van K or what's the other? Van K. Wrote it down so I can remember. The Van K or Douglas rims. They're basically the same. And if you're going to go this route, you see this has the hub inside. That's what slides onto the axle. You will need 2 hubs, you will need 2 rims, and you will need 2 tires. The hubs are about $20 in each. Now you have to go on the internet and search for all this stuff. every site is different. Every site's going to have a different price, and this is without shipping. So the hubs are $20 a piece. The rims are anywhere from $30 to $40 a piece. And the tires, these are racing tires, they're $60 a piece. You can shop around and maybe find them a little bit cheaper, maybe $40 a piece. That's going to be really hard to find. You might be able to go on to eBay and get some used ones. But if you're doing everything what I have right here, brand new, even if these rims are a little bit narrower, they're still going to be the same price. So that's 2 hubs, 2 rims, and 2 tires. You're looking high end about $240. If you're lucky, you can get down to about $180. So that's for these right here. Now they do make a hubless wheel, and it has the bearing built into the rim. Those are $45 a piece. So 2 of those plus 2 of the tires at $60 a piece, you're looking at $210 as opposed to $240 if you like that look. The low end would be about, I have here about $170, so you're saving a little bit of money there. Now, there is some options if you are price conscious and you're looking for some things. You may see these tires right here on different mini bikes and go-karts. They're slicks. These are a cast aluminum 2-piece rim, very sturdy. Really good. They have the precision bearings in them. And if you want to go this route, what you can do is the rims, they're 6-inch by 4-inch. Now, they're a little bit narrower than the PVC pipe. The PVC pipe usually comes 6 inches wide. So you could actually take the 6-inch PVC pipe, cut it in half, which would give you 3 inches. This is 4 inches, and I think that's going to work good enough if you want to use just one of these. You actually could buy 2 of these and double it up, but then again, you're going to have some of the tire hanging off the side, but so it's what you want to do. But these rims with the bearings in them, they're $50 a piece. And then you're going to have to get the tire, which is around $30, and then you're going to have to get the tube. So you're looking around $160, $170 for 2 tires, 2 tubes, and 2 rims. So that gives you some options there. I do not recommend whatsoever going to Harbor Freight and getting 2 or 4 of the Harbor Freight wheels and sticking them on your go-kart or your trike and putting the PVC plastic on it. Those rims are, it's sheet metal is what it is. It's sheet metal that's just punched out. They're not true. They wobble. The bearings are, if you do that, and I just popped this out, this is one of the precision bearings that belongs in here. And these are really good. This is what they use for racing. You will need to get this precision bearing with the snap ring on it. That gives a little lip, so if you press it into the Harbor Freight wheels, it will stop. It won't just keep on going. So if you buy the Harbor Freight wheels, which again I highly disagree with, that you're just asking to, the centers are going to break out on you. It's not worth it. It really isn't. Save up your money and get something good. But if you do get the Harbor Freight wheels, you have to get these precision bearings with the snap ring on them. I think they're about $2 or $3 a piece. You'll need 2 for each wheel. So that's something that you should really look into. Why do you want to use a hub? This is a hub right here, and it just slides onto your axle. Well, what's nice about this hub is it bolts up to a lot of different rims. It bolts up to these rims. There's a bunch of other rims, and whatever tire you can get on those rims, you can put on here. So you don't necessarily have to make a drift trike. If you're making something for show or something you just want to ride around, I'm going to show you a few different tires. Here is a dirt tire that will go on a rim just like this, and you can actually put some PVC pipe on that if you want to, or you could just run that dirt tire. This is a lawn and turf tire, and you could put something like that on there if you wanted to. Here are some more lawn and turf tires that you could put on the back. This is a ribbed tire. Now again, the PVC pipe won't go on this because these tires are too big, but you might be making something else. And you can even put dirt racing tires These are an 8-inch rim tire. They make rims for this that will bolt onto this hub. So if you want, you can even put tires that big on your drift trike. Of course, it's not going to have the PVC, but everything will bolt right up, and you can pedal down the road and maybe show off just a little bit. So hopefully this helped you with some things. If you have some questions, let me know. I can help you out. And maybe you'll be able to design something better than I have and put it on YouTube and show everybody else. Thanks a lot.